Rod Bowles is Executive Officer and Company Secretary of Victorian Agricultural Shows Limited. Now, the organisation encompasses 110 affiliates, including 91 Victorian rural and regional agricultural societies, 12 field days, 6 rural and regional shows in New South Wales, and 1 rural and regional show in South Australia. VAS is a member-based, not-for-profit organisation that's dedicated to supporting local communities, deliver local hundreds of events in rural and regional Australia. And in addition, it runs 29 statewide competitions, from livestock to homecraft to show ambassadors. Got to welcome Rod Bowles. Rod, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks very much, Mike.
And thanks for being patient, but you could hear there's a guy on the land in Sunraysia, and it's all of Australia is doing it tough. Victoria is doing it very tough. It must make it tough, though, to get the local show off the ground and get it happening, because there are so many distractions. How do you get through that, Rod?
Well, I guess I've had a few conversations in this last couple of weeks about all this because, we've just sort of got back on our feet again after COVID affecting the operations of public events and the shows, and that's been amazing, the amount of bounce back there's been for the show societies. It just proved, after having a recess of the shows not happening over that period of a couple of years, how much they were valued and loved by the community. And a lot of them have bounced back really strongly and recorded some of their record gate takings and things from that times. But there's ongoing challenges for agricultural shows all the time with OH&S requirements, WorkSafe on site, and it's classed as a work site as an event, and meeting requirements and things for OH&S is challenging. Along with getting volunteers, we unfortunately lose people due to natural causes. Our committees of show societies are generally an older age group, but in saying that, we have a lot of younger people flowing through into leadership roles and things in shows as well, which is important for the lifeblood of them all.
Yeah, it's I recall, field days I used to love. Shows, the Mildura show was just big. And they are an important part, especially of smaller communities. It would be a great shame to see these closed, and that's probably why there's been a bit of a rally to save these. Your organisation is just so important, not just for providing an event. It creates a part of the glue that keeps those communities together. How do you cope? Because and I've just read out what you do. And there are more than dozens and dozens of different events. Question 1, do you ever sleep? Question 2, do you have a life? And how important is your organisation to these communities?
Well, I guess I'm the governing body CEO of the organisation, where we have a board of directors, and a number of those directors are also involved in their own local shows. We've got a huge volunteer base of people out there. There's generations of involvement with the country shows, and as I said, they're important to their regional communities. But part of the role of Victorian agriculture shows are to provide good governance. We also provide opportunities for young people, particularly in learning their skills of showing and judging of animals, sheep and cattle and the likes. We have competitions of grain judging. There's rural ambassadors for personal development. A lot of those rural ambassador successes remained in their shows and take on leadership roles, as well as the traditional competitions we run of the fruit cakes and the homecraft things that are traditional within the pavilions. It shows that feature and flow through to state final level, culmination in finals at the Melbourne Royal Show, etc. So there's a whole package of things there, and one of the quotes I often use, the package of an agricultural show has something from the very young, right in the pram stage, right through to the very old, and it's a generational thing of involvement.
Mm. How have they changed from, I mean, if we go back, say, when I went to the show, I actually went with Ned Kelly. But I mean, but how has it changed from, because things have got to morph, got to grow, otherwise they do stop. How have they changed, say, in say the last 20 or 30 years? What are some of the innovations that have occurred?
Well, you mentioned before about the field days, and a lot of those have
Mm,
established events that taking away that machinery aspect from the shows and creating a specialist event, which works really well for them. Part of our organisation is also things like the Australian Sheep and Wool Show. That's the national event for bringing all the sheep enthusiasts together. But the agriculture show, I guess, is now turned into more, it's show bags and rides and also the core of competitions, but there's also a entertainment element that is important, and having attractions and things to create that entertainment of like monster trucks, motorbikes, or as simple as the ferret race or something it might be at a little country show. So it all gets down to budget and what's affordable, and and that's sort of the challenges of the committee, I suppose, to
mm,
put on
mm,
something and keep introducing new ideas and things to make the event still relevant.
mm. And you're in Bendigo. I used to work at 3BO. There you are, a long
Ah,
time.
right, there we go. That's probably how I know of you. Yes,
Yes,
yeah,
that's right. I mean, they
yeah,
they they shooed me
yeah,
away. Get out of
yeah.
Bendigo. Um, I could tell you some stories, some true. Tell me about though the sponsors for because I mean, as time goes on, there are so many opportunities for a sponsor to advertise, not just with one event. They can go to various online events. They can go to all sorts of opportunities. How do you cope? How do you bring in the new sponsors? And what's some of the hooks that you would use to say this is important to be seen at this event?
Well, most times a sponsor, it's usually by opening the door, knowing someone personally, sometimes
Mm,
involved with an organisation. But that's part of my role, I guess, is trying to get sponsorship to cover our state competitions. And for those that might be listening to this telecast, I would welcome any approach if you're interested in being involved, either through a state level or through a country show level. Um, it's a vital thing. Sponsorship is the core of giving that sort of working support of some cash support or that to put on some of these attractions or provide prize money or something like that to attract that audience. So it is a significant issue is getting sponsorship, and I've noticed since COVID, I guess that put a lot of in agricultural things to the wall a bit, that it's now starting after 3 or 4 years on, starting to rebound, but now we're
mm,
confronted with the fuel prices and things
mm,
that are going to
mm,
affect the travelling of our showman's carnival. It moves around Australia on an annual calendar. They've got huge trucks and diesel generators and things to run their amusements, and that's going to be an impact to that industry. Um, Also, just for competitors towing the horse float or taking the livestock to a show and all that. As I said, we've had some conversations in the last couple of weeks about what the impact might be. Let's hope it's not a long term, this situation we've got, but who's to know how long it could go for?
Yeah, that's right. I think when they start a war, they should have an idea what they're going to do after they start it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they forgot that rule. But it does create challenges, doesn't it? Because they're talking rationing. I mean, Chris Minns in New South Wales suggested going back to the COVID era of lockdowns in some way, which is terrifying to say the least. But the terrifying thing is that you are right. I mean, first of all, how do people get there, even though they're locals? But secondly, how do the events get there? If you haven't got the attractions, you ain't got much at all, have you?
Well, they're going to be, I guess, hand tied to increase their
Mm,
pricing
mm,
to come and travel to a country town and put on some entertainment or whatever it might be. It's everything's going to have an impact, and shows are trying to be a bit reluctant to increasing their prices too significantly, mindful of the pressures of young families and the economic times we've got. And that because often the purchase of the ticket at the gate is the cheaper part of the day, because there's quite a lot of spending of rides and show bags and things like that that goes with the family day out of a country show. So yeah, the committee are trying to keep their prices down, but rising costs, they've just got to try and meet those. And one of the big ones we've had is the cost of even insurance and things like that, has just yeah risen a lot, as you said, over the last 10, 20 years. They're the significant things, the impact of OH&S and the rising costs of insurance and that confront show societies, along with finding the resources of volunteers.
Yeah, and how do you attract volunteers? I mean, again, but it's interesting. There's a paradox here that things are tough. The economy is taking a battering. We have all sorts of uglies on the horizon, and the support for a lot of these shows and events, it increases. But you still need those volunteers. How do you attract them?
Well, one of the initiatives we did as a board after the COVID was put some advertising on a TV network, and that got quite a bit of traction, not only promoting that there's a country show in your town, but also we had the offer there that they could connect through our website and offer to volunteer. And we got quite a great response out of that, and we were able to pass those leads on to the respective show societies in the areas. And some of them have become permanent helpers the week leading up to the show, or it might be they've now joined the committee or playing some significant role. So I've often said to people, there's a lot of mental health issues in our world, and it's a great thing if someone takes on a job to go out and volunteer. It can do a lot of stimulation and create social networks and all sorts of things for the betterment of people in general.
I think it's a magnificent, not diversion, but it's a facet. It's part of. I mean, it truly is part of living in the bush, and we do need these community events to hang around, because once they're gone, we become, especially with online stuff, you become isolated, and you don't want that in a community, because all sorts of crazy things happen sometimes between the ears. What are some of the events that are coming up in the near future?
Well, our Victorian calendar of shows is sort of just ceasing at the moment for the autumn run. The end of March is always the cut-off there, but of course the major Royal show in Australia is Sydney Royal, coming up in the next couple of weeks, and that's a huge showcase of bringing all country communities together, and people travel from all over Australia taking their livestock to that. It's a fairly significant show. A lot of our show societies at the moment are currently having their AGMs and getting their committees in place and gearing up for their spring shows that all start kicking off at the end of August, September onwards. And along with the time of Melbourne show, we've got about 75 shows in that spring section of the season. And so a lot of work is now currently being done. I currently sit on the Bendigo Show Committee as the chair of the program committee, and we're constructing our entertainment and program for our show that'll be in October, and along with having annual meetings and all that sort of business side of things that has to happen. It's not just a 2 or 3 day event. It's a 12 months of planning and preparation, debriefing after, and all that sort of thing. It's a bit of a calendar of activity to put on a show.
If we can do anything to help, because I think it's it is so important to all communities, whether they're regional, rural, or in the outback. So the offer is there. Just give us a hoy if you want a hand. Rod, if somebody wants to find out more about where the events are, what shows are coming up, which field days, or just about your organisation, how do they do that?
Yeah, well, we've got a website that has all the show societies on that, and a annual calendar there of the dates that the shows are being held. And it's simple by going on to www.vicagshows.com.au, and there's a whole range of information there about the country shows and the closest one that might be near someone that's listening to this program. And you can certainly send us an email through the website if they're interested in being involved as a volunteer, and we can certainly put them in touch with the local show and connect them up, because it's the help we need.
Mm.
As I said, the shows have been, some of them over 150 years old. They've stood the test of time, but we always need that influx of volunteers to keep,
Mm. Mm.
fresh ideas and energy, towards the events. So,
Mm. And the final question, this is probably the most important question I could ever ask of you, and this is the one that decides how good a bloke you are. Who do you follow in the footy?
oh well, I'm one of those torrid blues supporters that has.
I
I can
actually thought you
remember
were
the
a
last
bloke.
premierships, but yeah, there's been a lot of expectations for the last 30 years, but
Oh,
we continue to have a similar pattern. So yeah.
well, our
Anyway,
club, my club, St Kilda, we took all your
ah,
players, and we're
yeah,
performing just as well as they did last year. Not very
yeah.
well.
Well, yeah, and even Charlie Curnow at Sydney, well, he's still showing the traits he had at Carlton as well. So
Yes.
anyway,
No, you're getting a bit bitchy there. You know that.
yeah.
Don't be a sore loser.
Well,
Uh,
as you say, money talks all languages, and you can't deny them the right to earn as much while they're in it. Football's
yeah.
only one of those things that's in their life for 8 or 10 years in their prime, and then they're feather dusters sometimes. So
What about
yeah.
Nick
Anyway,
Dacos? Nick Dacos from in Collingwood. He's been lured over to Tassie for the new side. And they're saying something like 25 million,
yeah,
which
it's
is,
just
I
getting
mean,
ridiculous, and again, that'll be hard for football clubs to get enough sponsorship and traction to keep
mm,
players, and they're trying to work on salary caps, and obviously there's been clubs
I
that have
know.
been prosecuted over the years for breaching the
Mm.
regulations because they're trying to put the best group on the field, and yeah, so anyway, it's a
Anyway,
hard
look,
hard one,
you and
yeah.
I, we can one day at the end of the season, we can say, well, we're bottom four again. Uh, Anyway, look, great chatting. Again, if we can do anything to help, just give us a hoy, and it would be our pleasure to help. Rod Bowles there, here on the Country Telegraph.